Hi everyone, Sarah here. Thank you for having such a red hot go at this activity 2, your SMART goals, and many apologies I haven't ducked back in a little bit earlier to give you a little bit more feedback. So what we might do is just start off with a couple of things. I might jump into the assessment guideline. I can see a lot of you are working with the template, which is just fabulous. So that's what this is here. So if we jump into that, you can see what we have here, and in particular it gives you, if we look down under additional resources, here is the template for you to work with. And the reason we give you this is it gives you a really good format to follow, and essentially all you really need to do, so I've got a new bigger computer, all you really need to do here is work through it and fill in the goals, and then you can copy and paste your goal into the discussion board like I can see a lot of you are doing, and work through each part. So part 2 organising, and then part 3 and 4, and you're really just essentially populating all of this. So then you do a you go up here and you do and you save it into your system, and then that's what you actually end up submitting, which is just fabulous too. So another good thing to note in this document here too is the annotated student sample, which we'll come back to in a moment. So let's just work through some of these goals that we've got here too. So I've already given a few of you feedback. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to break this down into groups. So I'm just going to chat a little bit more about Erin, Alison, Ash, Sarah, Kirsten, Stephen, Rebecca, Tiffany, Harry and Alice's goals now, and then I'll do the others in another round. I've only got about 15 minutes in this video as such too. So Erin, as I mentioned in my post down here, I think this is a good goal, and it's probably really under your planning concept that you're identifying there too, and just have a look, see if you want to have another go at it and see if you can make it a little more specific, in the sense that you can look at a more structured approach. You could put in some things that like working 8 hours a day, 2 hours per night, or whatever, and see if you can come up with a couple of different types of tools or things that help you out, such as Trello, Asana. I mean, are you somebody that likes to work with a calendar, like Outlook, or do you have lots of handwritten to-do lists? Are you someone that loves systems? I've got some up here. You can see I use Trello and Toggle. I time what I'm doing, and I use Trello like an online to-do board as well too, which really helps me out. Moving down to Alison, what I love is you're giving some really nice, encouraging comments along the way too. Alison, a couple. That's a really good goal. The project planning, implementation side of things. So what I think, in specifically, if you could be a bit more specific, and is it in relation to your studies? Provide some examples. So what I really want to get is a true sense of how you're going to do this too. You'll notice I posted a good resource further down here from my favourite website, Mind Tools. So when you go back and review my feedback, have a look at all this too, and just ask yourself, are you actually addressing this criteria? So when you create your goals, when you're creating the other 3 for the assessment, go back and have a look at that, because it's quite handy, and you can actually print out a little Word document I've attached there for you as well. So just going back up to where we were, Alison, just see if you can have another go and just be a little bit more specific with that feedback I've given you there. So Ash, I think this is a great goal. And we have Justin, who'll be in the next round of video feedback, that wants to be an ops manager too. And I think it's fabulous. It's just a little bit too broad. So what I'd like to look at is, okay, so what's going to help you in this teaching period to help you get to that big end objective, big end goal? So what are some of the things that you're going to do in this teaching period? So break it down into little micro steps. So what we want for these SMART goals is then for them to be, I'll call them bite-sized, task-driven goals that will help you get to the end, achieve your goals. So look at how you're going to do it. You need to give me a sense of exactly how you're going to achieve it along the way. I hope that helps. Plan a weekly study schedule. Sarah, this is good. this is a good goal. I think you'd need to give us a few more examples in here and see if you can populate this a little bit more. So when you're talking about planning a weekly schedule, how are you going to do that? What are you going to use for your weekly schedule? And then measurable, how are you going to measure it? So why don't you look at stuff like, I think, we say, you need to do at least 8 hours a week per unit. So maybe talk about some measurables, some actual tangibles in there. And Brooke actually further down actually gives you some good insight into that. And I really like how you're all giving each other some really helpful thoughts and advice. So, have another go. What you need to do is just click on reply and post your updated goal. You don't need to go in and edit it. Just make sure, if you don't have this edit button sitting here, let me know, because when I create the post, I can make sure that's turned on for you. So just let me know if it's not. But click on reply to update your goal, and I'd love to see what you come up with. Just be a little bit more specific. Kirsten, develop planning skills. So this is good. So when you talk about planning skills, what are you actually meaning in particular? So balancing study and work, that's great, but just give me a truer sense. I like how you talk about Tuesday night. So how are you going to plan it? Are you going to use like a diary? Are you going to use like something like a Trello, or there's an Asana board? Do you have a big A3 piece of paper that you stick up on your wall? And, do you let your family, your husband, your partner, your housemates know what you're up to as well? How are you going to plan all of that? This is good. The work lunch, the DD, that would be the discussion board, so the group discussion. It will absolutely help you. Anything you do here will scaffold and help you for your assessments and your exams as well. And by the end of the unit's fine. So, some good bones in there, definitely. Stephen, you make me laugh. I think you're just fabulous with your wit. It's just wonderful to have you in the group as well too. So my feedback to you for your first goal was that it was a little bit too broad, and I love how you've come back in and you've had another go. And once again, you crack me up. Become a business guru. So what I'd like you to really think about here is what we're going to want is 4 goals that relate to each of the Polk factors. So how, from a planning point of view, an organising point of view, are you going to get to that end goal of being business guru? So if you get what I mean, I would say that's your end goal at the end of your degree. Can we talk about what some goals are for this teaching period and really break it down? So we want to break it down into little bite-sized bits that's going to help you. So what we'll do is let's pull this back a bit. This is too far out for what we need right now. We want something by the end of the teaching period. So see if you can have another red hot go. I love that you've copied your template in and used that too. It's just fabulous. Thanks, Stephen. So Rebecca, look, this is a good goal too. Once again, it's a little bit like the ops manager goal that we've got for Ash and for Justin later on. It's a little too broad for me for what we're looking for. So yes, that's your end goal. So like, being a business guru like Stephen, how are you going to break it down? What are you going to achieve in this teaching period? So when we look at like time bound here for you, CPA by the end of 2018. So what are you going to have to do in this teaching period that gets you to that bigger, broader objective? So see what you can break down. So go back and have a look at, the Polk functions and think, okay, is it something like if I can, what's an area I want to improve on? Say referencing or my ability to avoid distractions, so procrastination. So that comes under self-leadership. Just have a look at a couple of different ideas there and to see how you can give me those little bite-sized goals that they're going to help you out there. And there's a bit more specific feedback for you. Tiffany, this is a really strong goal. I've already given you feedback in it because you talk about receiving feedback from your ELA with your referencing, and these are all good bits and pieces. You could even enhance it further, as I say. Have a look at that assessment support menu. I'll just show you if I can jump into that where that actually is. So if you go here, I'll just move the screen over, assessment support. You click on here, and this is where you'll find a heap. There's some referencing help here, assessment help, but in particular, Your Tutor and Smart Thinking. So Your Tutor is like a real life tutoring service. Smart Thinking, you can submit your assessment and get some really good feedback on that. So that's a really good thing for you to look at too, Tiffany. I would say that could be quite helpful for you as well. Moving down to this is the SMART goal guidelines I've given you. I love Mind Tools. So down the bottom you'll see this great little Word document you can print out. So Harry, an effective study plan is a good goal. Let's break it down into maybe this unit. if this is good time bound, you've got the 12 weeks here, which is fabulous. And what's good about this is you've spoken about in studying to 3 to 4 hours, 5 to 6 on the weekends. You've been specific here. You've been more specific, which is really fabulous. I think you can refine it even a little bit further. Let's look at, so what tools are you going to use to help you with your study plan? So looking at things, that you use a diary, are you a hard copy person? Do you, handwrite, you write everything down? I still work with a notebook as well, but I do use these online tools such as Trello or Asana. Kanban have some stuff, Todoist, Wunderlist, which I think we've got someone touching on as well too. And then I time myself so I know I'm on track, and that really helps out as well too. Moving on to Alice, and Alice, this is a good goal, and I think it's a very relevant goal. I'd like to see you being a little bit more specific. So to complete all your weekly readings and activities is a really good idea. So what you might want to do, you might say something like, for example, I would move some of your stuff that you've got down here further up into maybe measurable as well. So, you're going to complete your readings on a Tuesday, and then work on the activities, and then Sunday evenings come back. So this is really nice. Some of this could probably appear a little bit earlier on, and time bound, just have when you'll have it achieved by. So more broadly, the end of the teaching period, because that will help with your overall goal. How you can organise yourself, and what else are you going to do to help you. But look, it's a good goal, Alice. I think it's really good. I'm able to actually squeeze a few more in here as well too. So I'll just continue here with Justin. So Justin, a little bit like Ash's, I think it's a really great goal. I love how you're thinking big picture. So, and what I mentioned to Stephen is, why don't you see, okay, what can I do in this teaching period that's going to help me get to this broader objective of being an operations manager? So go back to Polk and think about what's going to help you with that, and break it down. So you want to become an accountant. That's fabulous. So there's all sorts of things, though, that you can do in this unit, this teaching period. So, this wants to be by the end of the teaching period. Go back and just revisit Polk and see what you can come up with as some ideas that can help you, with that more specifically too. Travis, so for Travis, Greg, Adrian, Brooke, Katrina, Marianne, Georgia, and Andrew, I'm doing this at 5:30 on Saturday night. So I'll come back to you probably tomorrow with some more specific feedback for you all, and if anyone else posts as well, and I'll continue to do that. But hopefully you find this helpful along the way. The bones are there. Some are a little too broad, some are pretty spot on. Just give me a truer sense of what you're going to be able to, how you're going to be able to achieve it. So if we just go back into the assessment guideline too, what I want you to have a look at when you're doing this and preparing your response, have a look at that annotated student sample. So this is a past student who's done a sample response to this assessment, and I've marked it. So this gives you an idea about some other goals. So we're just looking at the planning part. There's planning 1 section. So improve assessment criteria. So there's some more specific stuff in here, applying feed forward, concurrent feedback and controls, submitting early. So think about some of those tangible things that's going to help you become an operations manager or a business guru. Think about those little baby, tiny, bite-sized, task-driven things that are going to help you. Some more goals, applying Polk. So that's probably a little broad as well. Here, completing weekly activities and readings on time. So that's a common theme and something that's vital for you too, I completely understand. So this could be a little bit more specific when talking about what we've just covered, particularly for like Alice, for example, with some of those examples we spoke about, and what you had in your time bound section, Alice, too, would be sort of relevant more up here. But look, it's really handy for you to see it, and this, it has the other parts in here with some of my comments in there too. And they're working with some references. You're not marked on referencing in this assessment, but I'd love to see you practicing and getting your in-text citations right too. So if we go back to your activity, just remember when you considering my feedback, listening to this video, listen to the next one, even if it's not relevant to you, it will be in terms of feedback. Go back and have a look at this great source. This is a wonderful website. This link may not work because I have a membership to it. but this will all help you. So if you get one goal sort of sorted here, you've only got 3 more to do for your assessment. So I look forward to catching up with you next week on Wednesday, for our collaborate session for our first assessment too. And your activity for next week will help you out with another part of the assessment too. So all the best. I hope you find this helpful. Let me know if you find this a helpful way to get feedback too. Thanks a lot, guys. Okay, bye.